And welcome into the television version of Strategies for Living. I'm marriage and family therapist David McMillan. I'm delighted that you've tuned in, joined with me today on Strategies, of course, Strategies for Living, where we're all about helping us live healthier, happier, and more peaceful lives in our bodies, in our minds, in our spirits, in our relationships here in the 21st century. And today we've got radio voices with us here on the television version of Strategies for Living. It is my honor to welcome Robert J. Wright and Aaron McCarty from News Radio 710 Keel.
Well, yeah, now.
Ooh. How do you like that? Does that sound right yet?
It sounds weird.
It does sound weird.
It does
because,
sound weird.
Okay, so you guys may be the longest running, I don't know, I haven't researched this, against Jeff and Melinda in the market.
Oh,
but
yeah. Oh, yeah.
You guys, I think,
Yeah.
you've got the award.
I've been with him longer than I was with my husband.
Because, let's see, you guys started on the Big Dog, KRUF, K-Ruff.
In 96, August of 96. Yeah.
And then moved to KVKI, what, a little over a decade ago.
7 years on 94.5, 10 years plus on KVKI, and
Wow.
we moved 2 doors down the hall to Keel.
A week ago.
Yeah.
Does it feel like it's been longer than a week ago?
We've
yeah.
already talked about that. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, but that's due to the burden of our fellow employees.
Yeah.
It's a good fit, though. It's a good fit.
a great fit. I listened all week. I was super excited because when I called you and we booked this,
We had no clue.
you had no clue, or at least you didn't.
Well,
you didn't tell me if you did.
No, I couldn't say anything. But
I wanted to host you guys because you'd been on KVKI for so long. You're an institution. And there just
that sounds
aren't.
old, doesn't it?
Yeah. It's cold.
Yeah.
It's cold-hearted.
Yeah, this is not a man whose mental outlook is not his concern.
No, you got a point. You got a point.
Robert,
Disregard that open.
Robert, we'll take care of you later. We'll take
Right.
care of you after the show.
Free therapy.
Yeah, free therapy, exactly.
Yeah, we've been together going on 18 years.
Wow.
18 years. It's a long time.
What was it when you guys? How long were you on the air at Big Dog before you knew there's a chemistry here? There's just something going
I'd say
on.
9 or 10 years, wouldn't you?
It took a little while.
Yeah, it was
Took a while.
First, I was just doing the news.
Yeah,
with
I
him,
remember.
And then
Yeah.
it kind of evolved where he kept interrupting my news.
I
and-
did.
Yeah.
As opposed to now.
And then we would chit chat, and it got to be where it was like, oh gosh, okay, this is going to work. So nobody really said, you're now our morning team. It just kind of
It
evolved.
just kind of evolved.
Yeah.
Now, Robert, how many years have you been in the radio business?
42 in August.
I graduated with this man's brother, Hal.
Yes, yeah.
His little brother, Hal.
In 74, I guess.
74.
I graduated Jesuit, now Loyola in 70.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, did you know?
Oh my
at that
God,
point
no, absolutely no.
That
no,
you were
no,
going to do radio?
No. I'm trying to think of the best way to tell the story. It dawned on me about a week before I got to radio that it was even a possibility as a career. The summer before my sophomore year at LSU Shreveport, I had a job. Do you remember the old Chamberlain's Nursery?
Oh, sure.
That was
sure.
down just right off by the old Troop G, just off Barksdale Boulevard.
Sure.
And I had a summer job there, and I toted rose bushes and trees, and it was 110 degrees, and I wore long sleeves and gloves.
So there's got to be an easier way to work myself through college,
Well,
right?
it got to be the next summer, and my dad said, he literally said, "What are you going to do this summer?" And I said, "Work indoors and not carry stuff." And so he was a golfing buddy of Larry Ryan. And he and Larry were playing golf one day, and he brought up that, oh, Bob's looking for a job. And Larry said, well, have him come see me. We can find something for him to do, because Larry was still at Keel then.
Yeah.
And the first go round. And my dad comes home from golf, and he says, go see Larry Ryan about a job. And it's 1972. You know, Larry Ryan is pulling 75 shares
Right.
in the
Right.
ratings.
Talk about the big dog in the market.
Yeah.
And I went to talk to Larry, and I got a job loading tapes on old KMBQ.
KMBQ, I remember it well.
Beautiful
Wow.
music, and the reels of tape were about the size
that.
of.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Yes. And I did that. But Keel had all the disc jockeys.
Yeah.
These live disc jockeys. And just to throw names at you, Randy Hames or the Brigham Brothers or
yeah.
Jeff Baker, who I still am close to. He's in D.C.
You know,
And-
Lane does what I do now. Lane is a
Rancher,
marriage
isn't he?
and family therapist.
No.
Oh,
Wow.
yes. Oh, yes. Yeah.
I thought you own a ranch on the side, animal husbandry, David.
I wish, Robert.
And
some of us have been more successful than others.
Just because I've had one career doesn't mean I've had one job.
Yeah.
And it just dawned on me watching all the real DJs. I thought, God, what a great job that would be. How much fun could that be?
So you were in the days of Ronald F. Montgomery,
Yes.
and Steve Kelly, and all
Steve
those
Kelly
guys.
was a boss of mine in Philadelphia. And if you knew Steve
I knew
on
Steve.
the radio,
Yeah.
Steve talked like this. But in real life, Steve talked like Richard Nixon. So I swear to you, and he was like, I think we need to have a meeting. And it was so strange because he still is. He works for Bill Young, which is a big production company in Houston.
Yeah.
And he makes hundreds of thousands of dollars doing concert commercials. But in person, he was
Richard Nixon.
Yes.
Now,
Yours was really bad.
Yeah, not bad. Yeah.
No.
now, how did you're from Baton Rouge.
I'm from Baton Rouge. I started in high school. I went to the very first high school that had a radio station. It was Baton Rouge. It was the first
so you
magnet
knew,
school.
You knew this was
I
a
knew right
direction for
on,
you.
and then I got into college radio. I was at the time it was LSU's radio station was WPRG, and I was with the group that helped change the name to KLSU. So every time I see that, I think, ooh,
Yeah,
there's my name on
that's
some of
my
those
deal.
papers.
Yeah.
Which is kind of cool. But in college, I also got a job changing those big tapes
Oh, yeah.
on the beautiful
Yeah.
music station overnight. So I was working midnight to 6 and then going to class at 7:30. I was always an early person. So I'd go to class at 7:30, be done by noon, go home and sleep, and then go back and change the big tape.
Yep.
Some beautiful
Yep.
music and put
Yep.
the weather in. And did that for a long time. But the funny thing is, I moved to Shreveport in May of 1984. So May, this spring, will mark 30 years.
Wow.
And I'm back in the same room now that I started
that you started because you started with the old.
in. I was a news person,
You were a
and that's
news
what the
person,
newsroom
yeah,
at that
yeah,
studio then at
yeah.
the time. That was the news
You
studio.
and you came on with the old KWKH,
yes,
the
and it was,
ranch.
And
when it
that was when we had KWKH and K-Rock, if you remember,
I remember.
KROQ.
Yep.
Someone should spank whoever sold those call letters.
Oh, $1 million call letters.
Sold
$1
them
million
to somebody
call
in
letters.
Eunice, I
Yeah,
think.
yeah. Gave
Ridiculous.
them away.
What a moron.
Now, so, you guys, how do you, when you made the move, did you have to, this guy's been in rock and roll and music radio.
He's been in
and,
big city talk
yeah,
radio.
oh
though.
yeah, I
People
know.
don't realize.
I know. So did
And-
you have to do some big talking to?
We're talking about the Keel movement?
Yeah, the Keel
Yeah.
move.
It had been bandied about. They had tossed the idea of around for more than a year.
Yeah.
And it was something that we always knew was if not inevitable, highly likely.
Yeah.
And it would be front burner, back burner, front burner, back burner, and it just never got done. And when they really started talking about it, about what, maybe
2 months ago, maybe?
yeah, maybe 75 days.
Yeah.
And she was a little reticent at
Was
first.
iffy.
She was, and here literally is the story. I mean, there were just little deals to work out.
Yeah.
But we were ready to go, and she's still balking somewhat at the idea. And this is literally the conversation. It was, I said, Aaron, how many times have we sat in the KVKI studio and said, let's go see how good we can be. Let's go see what we can do. Let's see if we can entertain an audience for 3 hours a day with nothing more than what's between our ears. We always say we could.
Yep.
Let's go find out if we can. Let's go have an adventure. And she looks at me and she says, remember?
Yes, I do.
And she says, Robert, I'm 52 years old. I don't need an adventure. And I said, Aaron,
Yeah, you
you're
did.
52 years old. That is precisely why you need
Good
an
point.
adventure.
Yeah.
Good point.
And that
And
was
it has been quite the adventure. But I love it. I knew I'd end up back doing news. I mean, I have a journalism degree.
Yeah,
That's what
yeah,
I do.
yeah.
I love it.
And you missed
yeah.
doing
And I mean,
real
there's
news.
truthfully,
didn't you?
he'll
Yeah.
tell you, there's nobody better in town.
Yeah.
That sounded bad, didn't it?
there's
You-
nobody. Let's try that
No.
again. You know, David, there's nobody better in town.
I agree, Robert.
Yeah.
There's nobody
Thank
better
you,
in
thank
town.
you. Better. I mean, I love it, and I can get people on the phone.
It
And I
shows.
can,
It shows your enthusiasm.
Right.
Shows, and you guys are a good mix together.
Yes.
Yeah.
And he'll tell me, like the other day we had a conversation, and I was rarely do we talk like this. So he's going to be
Rarely
ticked
do we
that-
talk outside the studio.
Yeah, I was going to ask
Yeah.
about that.
Never.
You're stealing
Yeah.
some of
We
my
will-
interview questions. Yeah.
He said, are you? We looked at each other because doing this morning show is a lot of work between the two of us.
Oh,
a
yeah,
lot of work.
yeah.
Setting it up, making sure you move from question to question. And he said, are you as terrified about the times when you're not here as I am about the time,
Yeah,
vice versa?
yeah, yeah.
And I said, oh, dear God, yes. Because, I mean, if you don't have that other one to bounce things
Yeah.
off of.
And you guys are going to need vacations, obviously.
Yeah, I'm
A
going to
lot of
Hawaii
vacations,
in
yeah,
May.
A lot of it, to visit her son, the Marine.
All
Yeah.
right.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
So we're
Proud
going to work
mama.
on. Yeah, I can't. I'm excited. I'm so excited.
May I tell him the story?
Oh, the Marine story. Yeah.
He had gone to Parris Island in South Carolina. And then from there, this is over a year ago, right?
Parris Island's in Georgia, but that's okay.
Where'd he go to basic?
Parris Island's in Georgia, isn't it?
No, South Carolina.
Oh, wherever he was.
You don't make me break up an argument here
A
on
woman
the
without
air.
an iPhone. A woman
Yeah.
without an iPhone. And he'd gone then for some advanced infantry training in North Carolina. And I came in one morning, and she's at her desk, and she's sobbing. She's. I said, what is it? She said, I can't talk about it now. I said, okay, I'm not, one of the things I am not in any, I'm not a fix-it guy.
Right.
Right.
Tell me what that's not me.
Yeah.
And so I figured when she wants to tell me, she'll tell me. And I go into the studio and set up for the program, and she kind of staggers in and sits down in the chair, and she's still like this. And I said, are you okay? And she said, yeah. And I said, what is it? And she said, JW's, now that's her son, JW's been deployed. Now, this kid's been in the Marine, 4 months, 6 months, 7 months.
3
I'm thinking-
minutes in.
3 minutes.
I'm thinking, oh my God, he's like Afghanistan or some hot spot. He's
Right,
been-
right.
he's in a black ops helicopter
Right,
somewhere.
right.
And I said, oh my God, deployed where? And she looks at me and goes, he's been deployed to Hawaii. And I thought,
David.
I love it.
let me see if I got this right. Your 20-year-old single son,
Yeah.
your son who's 20 and single and has literally no expenses,
Right.
is going to Hawaii?
On the federal government's tab.
Right, pretty much, yeah.
No wonder you were sobbing.
It was
Yeah,
terrible.
yeah.
It was
Exactly.
terrible.
I know you were do you remember years ago, and I think it may have been back when you guys were on the Big Dog. Mm-hmm. Was he the one that I hypnotized you on the air for? Do you remember
Might
that?
have been, yes. It might have
Because
been, yes.
you remember Robert? Because she was a soccer mom, and she.
Yes, that was him.
That was him.
She was
yeah.
going, yes. The
I was
story
going ballistic.
that she would go to soccer games and scream and yell.
And he was embarrassed. It embarrassed him.
Yes,
yeah.
She was
embarrassed.
a soccer mom. What she meant was soccer hooligan. She was a soccer hooligan.
I was a hooligan. I'm
And-
reformed
and-
now. I'm reformed.
And, well, you're out of sons. And you came in and hypnotized her to calm her down. And obviously, how many sessions did she have?
Oh, we brought her in and
Yeah.
out
You
a
were-
couple of times.
You were
yeah.
a couple of sessions short.
couple of
there.
sessions.
Yeah.
Oh, well.
yeah.
We can't do miracles, you know.
I did catch myself at boot camp when he graduated,
Yeah.
soccer momming it up.
Yep.
Yeah.
Well-
You can hear me on the video.
That's okay. That's okay.
Which is okay at boot camp, I
that's-
guess.
She's got a mean oorah.
But my boys, they're 16 months apart, and they call him Uncle Bob. He's known them since they were, almost just toddling around the studio. They scared him.
The first months, we were on 94.5 back in 96 and 97, and they were still crawling around, and they would get down on their hands and knees, and they would crawl around the back of the radio equipment.
Love it.
He was
And
scared
I'm
to
thinking,
death.
I love it.
I said, oh my, we're gonna hear a, and there's gonna be a little kid fly into the air all lit up. I'm thinking, oh my God, one of them's going to die.
Yeah.
And I'm the guy signed on the transmitter.
Right. But they love him to death. They do. They don't see him anymore, or obviously because they're grown, but they love him to death, and they call
My
him Uncle
sphere of
Bob.
influence is decreasing.
Yeah,
We
definitely.
gotta take a quick break, and
Okay.
when we come back, we're gonna continue this
Okay.
conversation.
Riveting.
Conversation. We've got Robert J. Wright and Aaron McCarty. They are the oldest radio duo in town.
Well, goodbye, Dave.
Thank you. And the newest youngest radio duo in town. They're together at News Radio 710 Keel, and we'll talk more about that move when we come back here on Strategies for Living. Stay with us.
The pain will not control us. It will never break us, define us, or keep us still. Because arthritis can't beat us if we beat it first. In the fight against arthritis, you need a weapon. What's yours? Visit the Arthritis Foundation at fightarthritispain.org.
Welcome home, man.
But it would be safe to keep your distance until the no secret that laughter makes you smile.
Reliable sources say that chicken soup has proven
Has found their way out of this dangerous, but they are returning.
Getting closer to nature can get you closer to your family. Go to discovertheforest.org.
And welcome back into the television version of Strategies for Living. I'm marriage and family therapist David McMillan. How could I forget to tell you, got radio folks in the house, the radio version of Strategies for Living. News Radio 710 Keel every Sunday morning, 9:05 to 10, where we started 20 some odd years ago. Can you believe that?
It's been a long time.
Been a long, long time. Tune in. You can also find us at strategiesforliving.com.
You got to get those coffee cups out of there, David. Just
You know, it's time,
Not
probably
on
time
2
for
decades.
some new coffee cups, I guess. You still have some of those coffee cups?
the old ones, sure. They're sitting in the corner. I'm not cleaning up.
I'll pick them up next time I'm in.
No hurry.
Yeah, thanks. Now, Robert, I understand in doing some massive research for this interview today that
Yes.
you're in the annals of broadcast history.
I
You're in the annals of radio history.
can't imagine that would
Yeah,
be true.
one of the only radio personalities to actually have a listener die.
Oh my God.
You did. You killed a listener.
No, I didn't kill a
Yes, you
listener.
did. You
No,
killed
I
a
killed.
listener.
No,
Tell the story.
No.
This is a great story.
Pardon
great
me.
story.
No, I kill an engineer.
Oh, okay.
I didn't kill the listener. The
Grand
listener-
Rapids, Michigan,
The
right?
listener died on the air. Yeah.
Wow.
Oh, tell them what happened.
I don't want to now. We were, and
Statute of limitations is up.
you giggle, but it's not a happy story. It was.
It sounds like something from WKRP in Cincinnati.
Yes.
You know.
We were doing this huge, at the big mall in Grand Rapids, Michigan, we were doing a human checkers game. And we picked 2 listeners who was going to be the black checkers and the red checkers.
Right.
And they each picked 12 people to come and
Be with them.
Yes, to be their checkers. And they sat up in a lifeguard chair at the beach.
Right. And directed
their pieces.
exactly
yeah.
from either side. And so we passed out 12 black sweatshirts and 12 red sweatshirts and
Great
this-
promotion.
Well,
Maybe.
Until you kill someone.
not exactly. Stop, it's a sad story. Show me a little sensitivity. I was there.
I'm so sad.
And so you're going to feel sad.
Yeah.
So what happened was that the young lady who was one of the checkers players had picked her grandmother to be one of her human checkers.
Oh, no.
And I told you it was not.
It was Grandma's time.
Well,
On
yes.
the checkerboard.
And so I had 2 mics in my hand, and one is the mall PA,
Right.
and the other one is live on the radio. And I'm saying, we're getting ready for the big checkers game here at mall whatever. And we'll be right back, and over my shoulder, I hear,
Grandma has passed.
I'm sorry for laughing.
And I looked over my shoulder, and
She keeled over.
yeah, she did.
Oh, my.
And
Weekend at Bobby's.
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah, movie checker, great grandma. You're a horrible person. Stop. So that's the abridged version.
Oh, God.
But that's yes. I was live on the radio, and a woman passed away.
How do you recover from that? Do you need to book some time? Have you got PTSD? I mean, do you need some time later this afternoon? I can probably help
the
you a little
incessant
bit.
giggling coming directly from my right isn't helping.
Yeah.
The matter. It was. I know 1,000 other disc jockeys and radio guys. Nobody else has a story like
I've
that.
never heard of
Kill the
stories
listener.
like that, Robert. You know,
It could have happened to anybody.
It
she
could have,
was-
but it happened to
she
you.
was the first, and maybe soon there will be a second.
but it's our gain because eventually that led you back to Shreveport.
I'm not sure that I was running from the law or anything.
Right,
as I
right,
tend to,
right.
which I infer. No. There was a lot of hopping around.
Yeah,
I've put my
Well, it's
stuff.
part of the radio business, right?
If-
But you guys are well established in this market now. What keeps you here? Because obviously you're big market quality. You could go lots of other places. What keeps you both in Shreveport?
If it's possible to love a place, I love this place.
Yeah.
My family's here, all my friends are here, and that was what it dawned on me at maybe in the early to mid '90s, that was everything that I held dear, everything that I thought was important to me
Was right here.
Was right here.
Yeah.
Larry Ryan had told me, I was working in Cleveland, oh my gosh, the first time. And I came home to Larry, and I had gone to lunch, and I'd worked for Larry at Keel back in the early 70s.
Right.
And he could tell that I wasn't liking Cleveland at all. It was just
And he spent a little time in Cleveland.
He was in Chicago and then Milwaukee. He avoided Cleveland because he's smarter than me.
You're right, it was Milwaukee.
And he could tell that it was not a good situation.
Yeah.
He just that I wasn't happy there. And we were kind of walking down the street. In fact, we were walking down Spring Street. And he said something to me that I've never forgotten. And what he said was, you know, you just got to work where you're comfortable. And the more I thought about that as I got older, that there's, except for very rare instances, if you're in a big market, if you're in a huge market, you're just borrowing the job. It's like being a baseball manager.
Right.
It's
yours for a time.
Yes, exactly. And I guess that's true in any job, but the chance in a market the size of Shreveport to become part of the community, to especially for me,
Yes.
being raised here. We moved here when I was in high school. Growing up here, you cannot underestimate how valuable it is to know how a place works, and I know how Shreveport and Bushel.
And my journey was out of college, had an offer to go to Little Rock, and was headed to Little Rock to go work there, and stopped in Shreveport because there was an opening at KWKH at the time.
Really?
And on my way back, drove back home. My family's in Baton Rouge, obviously.
Right.
This is way before the days of cell phones.
Right.
So I drive all the way back home, and I get home and I had both job offers. And I said, and I made the decision then that I wanted to be closer to my family. It's 4 hours as opposed to the 6 hours or whatever the difference was. And the reason I've stayed all these years, because I've had opportunities for news positions in bigger cities, but I stayed because of my kids and my family. And now my huge group of friends that I have. But I mean, my boys grew up here, they went to school here, finishing school this May, my last one.
I have not seen a rating book in years on purpose because that was a lifetime
Sure.
ago, and
Sick of it, yeah.
There's so many others who will remind you.
I'm afraid so. But my prediction is that you guys are going to take this market by storm. And I know your ratings were very good on
Sure.
KVKI.
We left KVKI, to be honest with you, with some of our highest ratings. So people are wondering,
Yeah.
why would you do it now?
But you're talking about Larry, you've left
Sure.
Corey Ryan.
Absolutely.
As
His son, yeah.
And as Larry's son. So you've left KVKI in good stead.
And it'll take people a little while to adjust. It's just not the same. They feel like Robert and I are their family.
Yeah.
And they can listen to us and throw eggs at us or
Have
whatever.
you had a lot of calls saying, "Hey, you're sounding great on the new place," or what's happening so far?
I've got all good. I've heard all good.
We are so far. We were more than a little trepidatious, just because it's 3 hours a day. Go in a room and talk about whatever you want to talk about for 3 hours. Okay, but it's still 3 hours.
Yeah.
And I've said to people, when you're a disc jockey, when you're playing songs, no matter how much you talk, there's always something next. There's a commercial next. There's another song next. There's something next. Well, you know what? On Keel, after me, you know what's next?
You.
More me.
Yeah.
So
Absolutely.
so that's as overly simplistic as that sounds. That's it eats material like you can't imagine.
I want people to know too, though, David, that it's not going to be, we had the vice president and had all
All
these
the
conference
suits,
calls
yeah,
and
yeah.
all that, and they tell us take what you're doing on KVKI and move it to Keel.
Absolutely.
And we're going to throw in some mix of news, but still have fun. Still do things that y'all do that are fun, that people know they're part of your life and part of your
Yes.
family. So that was our directive.
Yep.
And that's what we're going to do. It'll take, it's new equipment and it's
Sure.
new
You're gonna
technology
have to
stuff
get to
in
learn
there
it.
and get used to all that because we don't like our cheese moved.
My prediction is this is going to be the biggest thing for local radio since the days of Larry Ryan with a 75 share.
I don't anticipate a 75. but
Maybe not, because there's many, many more radio stations competing in the market
Right,
now
right.
than there were back in that day.
But
this is going to be, already, the first week is any indication.
Oh,
You
the buzz
guys-
is all.
oh,
Yeah.
the semi-joke between ourselves is we just have to be unavoidable to do things that people can't stay away from.
You have to
and,
listen.
And we've, like I said, the first week so far exceeded anything that we thought we could do.
You had me addicted by Wednesday.
That's what
me
somebody
addicted by Wednesday.
sent me an email, and I've gotten several of this, but the word I love was trance.
Yeah.
I was in a trance. I could not tune away. If I hear that, I'm golden.
The good radio is when people are afraid not to listen, and that's what I think is going to happen with you guys. Shreveport is going to catch on to Robert and Aaron on News Radio 710 Keel, and you guys are going to be afraid not to listen. So start in the morning. If you haven't tuned into them, tune in. News Radio 710 Keel, Robert and Aaron in the morning. Robert J. Wright, Aaron McCarty, thank you so much for coming and being a part of
Bet.
Strategies for Living.
And David will be part of our show too.
And I hope so.
You bet.
Folks, thank you for tuning into Strategies for Living. Don't forget to join us on News Radio 710 Keel Sunday mornings, 9:05 to 10, and at www.strategiesforliving.com. Until next time, for Robert and Aaron, I'm marriage and family therapist Dave McMillan.